You have something important to do. You know it. You've probably known for days. So you open your phone. 5 minutes. Then 20. Then somehow it's midnight. And now you're lying in bed promising yourself, tomorrow I'll actually do it. But tomorrow comes. And you do it again. Here's the uncomfortable question. If you know exactly what you're supposed to do, why do you keep choosing something else? We usually call it laziness. You lack discipline. You don't want it badly enough. You just need to work harder. But that explanation is almost too convenient. Because sometimes you know exactly what you need to do. You want the result. You understand the consequences. And you still avoid it. So maybe the problem isn't that you don't care. Maybe you're trying to escape something else. Something you don't necessarily see. A feeling. Think about it. A difficult assignment doesn't just mean an assignment. It might mean frustration. An uncomfortable conversation might mean rejection. Starting a business might mean discovering you're not as good as you thought. Studying for an exam might mean confronting the possibility that you could fail. And suddenly, avoiding the task feels strangely attractive. Because the moment you walk away from it, the pressure disappears. You haven't solved anything, but you feel better. For a moment. And that's where procrastination becomes interesting. And here's the strange part. Humans have been dealing with this for thousands of years. Aristotle described a problem called akrasia. In simple terms, it's the conflict between knowing what you should do and still doing something else. Aristotle didn't have a smartphone. He wasn't scrolling TikTok in bed. He didn't have Netflix. He didn't have notifications fighting for his attention. And yet the conflict was already there. Knowledge versus action. Modern technology didn't invent procrastination. It just became extraordinarily good at exploiting it. Your phone gets blamed for everything. And yes, it's incredibly good at stealing attention. But here's the uncomfortable part. If you remove the phone, the avoidance doesn't necessarily disappear. You might suddenly clean your room, rearrange your notes, check your email, watch one educational video, research something completely irrelevant. You can become incredibly productive at avoiding the one thing you actually need to do. That's because procrastination isn't simply, I don't want to work. Sometimes it's, I don't want to feel what working might make me feel. And that distinction changes everything. Because every time you avoid that feeling, you teach your brain something. Avoiding this works. It gives me relief. So next time the same feeling appears, your brain remembers the escape. And now you've created a loop. Task, discomfort, avoidance, relief. Then the task comes back. Except now the deadline is closer. The pressure is higher. And you feel guilty for avoiding it. So the task feels even worse, which makes you want to avoid it again. And the cycle repeats. So how do you break it? Not by waiting until you feel motivated. Because motivation is unreliable. And you don't need to conquer the entire task at once. Make the first move almost ridiculously small. Don't tell yourself to finish the chapter. Tell yourself to read one page. Don't promise yourself an hour at the gym. Put on your shoes. Don't build the entire project. Open the file. The goal isn't to feel ready. The goal is to make starting easier than avoiding. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel motivated. You don't even need to feel confident. You just need to make the next move. Because sometimes the way out of the loop isn't thinking differently. It's acting before the loop gets another vote. The task may still be difficult. You may still feel uncomfortable. But now you're teaching your brain something different. That discomfort doesn't have to control your behavior. And maybe that's the real battle. Not becoming a person who never procrastinates, but becoming someone who can feel the urge to escape and choose to move anyway. That's the human variable.